I need you to trust me one last time.
That's impossible!
Hey, welcome back to ScreenCrush. I'm Colton Ogburn, and Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, the latest and supposedly final installment of the Mission Impossible franchise, has arrived. Spoiler alert, the mission was in fact possible, but only because Ethan Hunt and his team once again go above and beyond to save the world, this time from a rogue AI, the Entity. And I think this film, like its predecessor and Top Gun Maverick, perfectly embody the real-world mission that Tom Cruise has been on to save cinema. So I thought we'd do something a little different in addition to breaking down the movie and explaining the ending and what's next for Ethan and his crew. I want to talk about what I think is the deeper meaning behind Ethan Hunt's war with this artificial intelligence, and what I think this movie's ending is teasing not only for the future of the Mission Impossible franchise and Tom Cruise movies in general, but the message that this movie is sending to the world and the people in the suits for the future of cinema and the mission to save it. A mission that some would call
Impossible! Impossible!
So, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, formerly Dead Reckoning Part 2, is a direct sequel to Dead Reckoning. But what I love about this movie is that you could honestly watch it without having seen any of the previous films, including that last one. Sure, you'll miss some nuance and references to previous parts of the saga, but despite this film originally being a Part 2, it does what Kevin Feige has always wanted MCU films to do, and that is to be able to be watched by anyone, anytime, without any homework. So the film opens with this really exposition-heavy recap of the previous film via Ethan being assigned his mission. And at first I was like, wow, that is some heavy-ass exposition to make sure everyone knows what's going on. But then I remembered that they do pretty much do that for every single one of these movies to explain the mission, and it's kind of a staple at this point for the saga, so I guess I'll let it slide. But I do wish that that's where the exposition had stopped, because it did feel like they were holding my hand throughout the entire movie to make sure that I understood what was going on at every single step. Like, buddy, your plot isn't that complex. Rogue AI must be stopped before it destroys the planet. Tom Cruise runs alive. Got it. Go cook.
It's really not that complicated.
So despite the heavy exposition scenes and the constant cuts to B-roll from previous movies, I thought this was yet another masterclass in how to make an entertaining movie. Full credit to Christopher McQuarrie as well. I do not want to leave him out of this praise fest that I'm doing for Tom Cruise and his recent films. So anyway, the whole time I was watching this movie, I just kept thinking, why wasn't this Captain America: Brave New World? And I say that as someone who overall enjoyed that movie, but this movie, it just feels grand in scale, and it knows what it wants to be, a modern-day swan song to action thrillers of the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. It's a movie that is here to entertain you, and never, not once, does this movie ever look or feel cheap. Never does it look like they cut a corner or spared an expense. It may be a popcorn flick, but it is made with the same dedication and attention to detail as an art house piece of cinema. And that all starts at the top with Tom Cruise and his mission to save movies. I did a video a few years back on how Top Gun Maverick is really about Tom Cruise fighting to save cinema from extinction, and that has continued with Mission Impossible. This film, as well as the previous one, are about saving the world from AI, and that's a fight that we've seen happening in our real world as of late, with misinformation running rampant. But it's also become a real fight in the entertainment space, and Tom Cruise has been a leader in this fight against the powers that be. The bigwig studio executives once acted as if the death of movie theaters was an inevitability, almost as if the fate of cinema as we knew it had been written. Movie studios had seemingly accepted that movie theaters were about to become a thing of the past, and the pandemic then only bolstered that idea. But Tom Cruise, like Ethan Hunt in this movie, or Pete Mitchell in Top Gun Maverick, he is of the opinion that we have the ability, the free will, to determine our own destiny and not let movie theaters become a thing of the past. Luther even says as much in his final message to Ethan.
Our lives are the sum of our choices.
Tom Cruise's take on the future of cinema is that he believes that we can choose not to allow cinemas to die and for the movie-going experience to die. We can choose to keep it alive if we're willing to fight for it. We don't have to bend to the will of advancing technology deciding that going to a physical place to watch a movie is a thing of the past. And there is no better villain than a classic evil AI like that that of Ultron or Skynet to depict we as movie lovers fighting to save cinema. So, like Ethan Hunt and his team of special agents, Tom Cruise and his team of filmmakers are defying the odds of filmmaking. Not only with this film, but with other recent installments of the Impossible Saga, and with films like Top Gun Maverick, they are once again saving film from the ever-shifting landscape of Hollywood and the movie industry as a whole. During the pandemic, Cruise was pushed and pushed to release Top Gun Maverick on streaming, but he stood strong in his refusal to let that happen. They ended up holding the film, and then when they finally did release it in theaters, the movie went on to make $1.5 billion and got people excited to go to the movies again. Not only did Cruise make Paramount a shit ton of money by making them wait and release the film in theaters, he made the theaters a lot of much needed money, and he made other movies a lot of money by making going to the movies fun again. People would go see a film like Top Gun, have a great time, and then go back to see it again, and then go back to see another movie and another and another. And that is something that I love about Cruise. He isn't just focused on bolstering his own career and his own films, he is a big supporter of films that he has nothing to do with, going out of his way to promote other movies on his social media and post pictures of himself going to an actual movie theater to see the film. This guy is using his stardom to save this entire industry. He loves movies and he loves making movies so much that he has essentially become the mascot for this entire industry. With technological advancements leading to doom scrolling on social media and streaming content at home becoming a major competition for the theater industry, which is the main moneymaker, by the way, for any movie studio, plus with AI's escalation of an already bad trend of movies being made like they're on an assembly line rather than carefully crafted pieces of art, Tom Cruise has become a key voice in fighting to keep this thing alive. Because guys, if movie theaters die, we are going to see the film industry as a whole and the type of content we're getting have a drastic change. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, in every Mission Impossible movie actually, hell, almost every Tom Cruise movie is about saving the world and really saving humanity. And humanity, as divided as we are on a plethora of really important issues, film and the movie-going experience has always been something that anyone from any walk of life, from any religion, no matter how you voted, we could all find a sense of humanity and camaraderie in the movies. Social media and streaming have both amplified this toxic culture that can make being a fan so exhausting and unappealing. But this impossible mission that Cruise seems to have been on to save humanity by saving movies is one that I just can't help but admire. I mean, very few stand as tall and as unwavering and as committed to the craft of filmmaking as Tom Cruise. Okay, maybe tall was a poor choice of words, but still. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning is the latest example of what it looks like when a film is made by people who genuinely love movies. For over 40 years, Tom Cruise has defied expectations of what an actor can and should be in this modern film era. Through his passionate dedication to the theatrical experience, his boundary-pushing stunt work, and his enduring commitment to storytelling and attention to quality and detail, Cruise has become one of the most important and iconic figures in this industry. And without Tom Cruise, I would honestly be terrified for the future of this industry as a whole. Sure, there are other greats like George Lucas, James Cameron, Kevin Feige, Christopher Nolan, and they have revolutionized this industry a time or two. And there are new up-and-comers like Ryan Coogler, Greta Gerwig, and Jordan Peele who are recent pioneers in this space as well, and who are helping to shape and transform modern filmmaking. But Cruise, as an actor, as a movie star, a true cinemaphile, his charisma and campaign for greatness in film, not just his own films, but hyping up others' films as well, he is someone that I see as the leader of a movement to save film from going the way of the dodo. Cruise is a name that I think needs to be included at the top of any list encompassing film icons. Because he's more than a pretty face delivering lines or doing epic stunts, he has grown into a true trailblazer that has pushed the boundaries of film and numerous times has saved this industry from collapse. In his own work and in his vocal support for other films, Cruise has, in recent years, become a voice that I as a film fan just really respect. And I have to admit that I used to not be the biggest Tom Cruise Cruise fan simply because I didn't know that much about him. I knew he was a talented actor and had done some great movies, but I was a little judgmental toward him as this, ultra wealthy superstar celebrity who had some interesting beliefs in his personal life. But in recent years, I've really come to respect the guy, and that really started around 2021 with Top Gun Maverick and how that movie almost single-handedly resurrected the movie theater industry when movie studios were ready to completely abandon it. Well, studios like Warner Brothers, who, don't get me wrong, I love Warner Brothers, and they now claim that they have a staunch dedication to the theatrical experience. But, like Christopher Nolan, I'm still kind of pissed that they kicked theaters while they were down during the pandemic by releasing all of their stuff on HBO Max, or Max, I should say. What's that? It's HBO Max again? Cool. Now, there was also this quote from Cruise on The Tonight Show where he revealed that he watches about a movie a day.
I watch a lot of movies.
You do?
Yeah, I watch about a movie a day. I try to.
Now, that video is like 10 years old, back when he was promoting Live, Die, Repeat. I mean, Edge of Tomorrow. What's that? It's Live, Die, Repeat again? Cool. Now, in a more recent interview, Cruise talked about how he wanted to learn every aspect of the art that is filmmaking, and he did just that.
I just did what I do, which is I went to every single department. I just started studying every single department and asking a gazillion questions.
And I have to say that as an amateur filmmaker who also likes to work in front of the camera, I admire Cruise's restraint in saying, I don't know everything, this is a collaborative medium, and I'm going to be a producer in the sense of holding a talented team together to make my vision work. Unlike, say, George Lucas, who no doubt was able to pull together talented people, but who, let's face it, would have been much better served as an executive producer of Star Wars like Marvel's Kevin Feige is of the MCU, instead of actually writing and directing the films. Cruise seems to know his strengths, being the leading man both in front and behind the camera. He is a masterful producer who can see talent and welcomes it by reaching out to other talented writers, directors, and cinematographers to tell the story that he is trying to tell for the audience. Cruise once explained that his ethos as a producer was like this: when I make a movie, I want to give the audience something that they have never seen before. It's not about the safety or convenience, it's about impact, about lasting images. Tom Cruise is often thought of as a lone warrior, a solitary force hurtling towards cinematic excellence, but behind his best work is an army of collaborators who Cruise inspires, mentors, and elevates. I mentioned earlier how Cruise isn't the type to think that he needs to write, direct, shoot, and star in every movie he does. Perhaps even more so than an actor, he is a great producer. And that eye for talent and allowing others to bring their craft into his world and contribute to the project and not simply rely on his own stardom is something that we've seen again with his fellow castmates. Actors like Simon Pegg, Rebecca Ferguson, and Haley Atwell have all spoken of Cruise's generosity on set. Simon Pegg has said that Tom treats everyone with the same level of respect, from the grips to the producers. He is the first on set, the last to leave, and he knows everyone's name. And hey, quick disclaimer, I do want to be clear that I'm very aware of the fact that Cruise unleashed on some crew members who weren't following COVID protocols on the set of the previous Mission Impossible film. We've likely all heard that viral clip of him yelling on set, and while Cruise was correct in principle, and I pretty much agreed with everything he said, I do not in any way, shape, or form condone speaking to an employee that way, and I think he was wrong to do it, so I hope he has learned from it.
This is the best of us.
This respect for the collaborative process is another reason that Tom Cruise's films resonate. He doesn't see himself as separate from the crew. He is part of the team, often leading by example. He's not just a movie star, he's an evolving artist who continues to challenge himself. Like James Cameron, he seeks innovation. Like Steven Spielberg, he knows how to thrill and move an audience. And like Christopher Nolan, he believes in the theatrical format. If you ask me, Cruise belongs in their company because, like them, he is both an entertainer and an auteur. Film historian Mark Harris once said that Tom Cruise is the last real movie star, not because others don't have talent, but because none of them have carried cinema on their shoulders the way he has. And guys, I know this kind of turned into a bit of a praise Tom Cruise session, but I really do admire his dedication to this form of media and entertainment. Movies are, well, they're my life, and I appreciate Tom Cruise using his immense stardom and his influence to save the very thing that made him this wealthy celebrity superstar that he is. And just like how Ethan Hunt has become this guardian and gatekeeper of the entity, I'm kind of cool with Tom Cruise officially taking on that role for cinema. But honestly, going back to Final Reckoning, they really should destroy that USB with a hammer.
I'll smash it with a hammer!
Anyway, while The Final Reckoning may not have been a perfect movie, it was better than 90% of the slop studios seem to just churn out and drop on streaming for us to eat like the hogs they think we are. And that's what I appreciate about this movie, because I feel like this movie represents something more than this movie itself, but just a style of filmmaking, a dedication to this art, and just a certain type of outlook on what it means to be a movie, what it means to release a movie, what it means to be a film fan. I think that Tom Cruise and his entire dedication to this industry is just something that we have to respect, admire, and protect. But hey guys, those are just my thoughts. Let me know yours down in the comments below. Did you enjoy The Final Reckoning? Do you think it is really the final Mission Impossible film, or will old Ethan Hunt be back for another adventure soon? We know that Cruise is obsessed with making movies and has many more projects in the works as we speak. Personally, if he'd be open to using like de-aging technology, which I'm not sure that he would be, but if he were, I would love to see a prequel that explores the story of what made Ethan Hunt join the IMF and explore that first fight he had against Gabriel and the loss of his first love, Maria, that we have only seen little flashbacks of in these two Reckoning films. So if you're new here, please do feel free to subscribe, smash that bell so you get notified every time we upload a new video. For ScreenCrush, I've been Colton Ogburn.